right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Free on this cold, snowy night here in Denver.
Cold. But you've got quite the tan going on.
Well, because we were in Florida all week.
Oh.
And I hear when we were in Florida, it was really nice here throughout the week, like
it
60s
was,
and 70 degrees.
Yeah.
That's the way it works out. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to all of you online people joining us, and you're part of this community. We're glad you're here. I'm Ryan. I'm the pastor and executive director here, and this is Noelle, our community director here. And to give you all the reminder, this is a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction and create space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And there is one thing we don't do, and y'all can shout it out on the count of three. If you're new with us, or if you're newly joining us online, you're going to learn this phrase really quickly. It's what we don't do here. 1, 2, 3. We don't do shame, but Noelle will tell you some things coming up that you might want to know about.
Hey, did you get a manicure in Orlando?
No, not in Orlando.
Oh.
This was over on Thanksgiving Day. My daughters wanted to give me a little petty and mani, and Tammy actually did my toes. You ought to see my toes. She did a beautiful job on them. But listen, when your daughters ask to paint your nails, always the correct answer is absolutely. Absolutely. That's how we do it.
Well, I just figured we should get that out of the way because everyone's going to be looking at your hands.
Everyone
so
was
I,
looking
you're
at
welcome. I just thought we should do it.
Thank you, Noelle.
But if tonight is your first night here, welcome. We are so glad you are here with us. Right outside the store here, get with a home team member, and they'll get you a welcome bag. And inside it has a little bit about what we do here at Free Spiritual Community. That's right, Carmen's got her welcome bag back there. A little bit about what we do here at Free. There's some fresh roasted Wagon coffee, some information on Wagon coffee and Free, and just some free swag. So get with a home team member. Grab one of those bags, or the people greeting you on the inside right when you walk in the door, and just know that we are so grateful that you're here with us tonight. Next up, this coming Thursday, it's November 30th, we are kicking off a 4-week small group series. And this is our Advent series that we do every year. So Rev Ryan and Carrie, raise your hand back there. Carrie, she's our community ambassador here at Free. They are going to be leading this 4-week small group with us in the prayer and meditation room Thursdays from 6 to 7. And it's 4 weeks on hope, peace, joy, and love.
Yeah, that's the 4 Advent weeks. And if you're fuzzy on what Advent is, it's the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas. So it's a good time to reflect and kind of just ease into things and find moments to be reminded why we're here.
Yep, so you don't need to prepare. There's no reading. Just bring yourself. The prayer and meditation room's in this back hallway, 6 to 7 for the next 4 Thursdays. It was a really popular group last year.
Yeah, we had a good time.
And if you can only make one Thursday, that's great. If you can make all 4, please do. But it's not something that you need to feel like you need to go every week to. So come to as many or as you can. So, yeah. On December 14th, it's a Thursday, we are teaming up with the Phoenix, Abby Alt, back there. Raise your hand, Abby.
Alt, our home team lead.
Absolutely. She's going to be, if you guys didn't know this, Abby in a past life was a professional comedian. And so she is going to be, she's going to be the host of this. We're teaming up with the Phoenix. We are going to have professional comedians here. Ben Roy is going to be headlining Ha Ha Holidays for us. So a night of comedy.
Do y'all get it? Ha ha, get it? Ha ha holidays.
They don't think we're funny.
Come on, Abby's funny. We're not funny.
Abby is really funny. Maybe Abby should be up here.
Maybe.
So it'll be December 14th. Doors open at 7. So if you're going to the Advent, you can hit the Advent, and then doors open. Doors open at 6. The show starts at 7, and it'll be from 7 to 8:30. We are going to work out childcare, so this is kind of an event without, probably not child appropriate, but we'll have childcare. But you will need to register for this.
Yes, and if you don't have the registration link, it's on if you go to our Facebook page, you can find the link there. I put it in the email. If you're not on our email, this might be a good time to get on the email because we are limited to somewhere around 200-ish people, so we want to know how many people are coming. So it's, of course, a free event. We would love to have you all here. It's like our Christmas party, so it's going to be tons of fun. But if you can register, it takes you like 30 seconds to register, so please do that if you get a chance.
And wear your best ugly Christmas sweater or Christmas garb, and we'll have a great night. I know that the cafe is doing a special drink that night, a holiday drink, and we'll have some other Christmas shenanigans. So please come join us. December 14th, it's a Thursday. Doors open at 6. The event kicks off from 7 and ends around 8:30 or so.
Beautiful. It's going to be lots of fun.
It'll
Thank you, Noelle. All right, y'all, the way we get started on a Saturday night here at Free is with celebrations. We lift up the good. We start with the good. This is a practice of gratitude and celebration, and something really profound happens when we celebrate together as a community, and God joins with us in these celebrations. So we take 3 minutes for this. If you are celebrating something, maybe it's a sobriety anniversary, a birthday, other anniversaries, or the new thing you get in recovery, whatever it is, babies, jobs, homes, we want to celebrate it with you. So we take 3 minutes for this. If you're online, simply drop your comments in the Facebook comments or the YouTube comments. Drop your celebrations there. We'll celebrate with you there. And all right, well, yeah, we'll celebrate that. But now the way we do it here is we pass around a mic. So Kyle and Paul has a mic, and so we need to hear the celebration on the mic so that our online people can also hear it. And we'll take 3 minutes, and this time is yours. So you can say that again in the mic.
Hello. My name is Carmen. I'm a new member. Well, wannabe. I have a case of beer thrown in my alley right now that I wanted to run and go back and drink it. But I was blessed with my son that was raped and abused. A mental and emotional 10 years, I finally got him home. The Lord answered my prayers and my broken heart. So now I want to be sober.
All right.
I want
Congratulations,
to be a member,
and we're glad you're
and
here.
I love all your sobriety and all your kindness. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Stick around and connect with people afterwards. We're glad you're here. Others.
Hello, I'm Mark, and there's a couple things I want to celebrate. First, my mom, of 84 years old, is out of the hospital and doing better than she did before.
All right.
She's breathing on her own, and everything is good. And 44 days today, clean and sober off fentanyl.
44 days. All right. Clean off fentanyl. That's worth celebrating.
My name is Tyler, and I'm also 44 days clean off of meth.
Way to go, man. 2 people, 44 days.
My name is Bree, and I would like to celebrate my brother's fiance, Nikki, Nikki's mom, Raya, my sister and her boyfriend all coming here to celebrate with us. They're here from Dallas, and some of them are here for the first time.
All right. Welcome, everybody. We're glad you're here.
I'm Nate, alcoholic, 1 year, 6 months sober today.
All right. Way to go, man. Glad you're here, Nate. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Katie, and I have 5 months sober today.
Katie, congratulations.
And my husband's moving back in with me from Sobriety House this weekend.
All right. We'll celebrate all of it.
Hi, whoa, this thing is loud. Hi, I'm Jeannie, and I used my tools of sobriety, and there were no arguments or fights during my sister and her husband's visit from Northern California, so I'm very grateful.
That's a happy Thanksgiving. Yeah.
My name is Josh, and I hit 7 months 3 days ago.
All right. Way to go, Josh. Congratulations, man.
My name is Roger, and I have a couple of celebrations. I'm thankful for this community since it's Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
And I'm also celebrating my granddaughter's 9th birthday today.
All right. Happy birthday, granddaughter. 9 years old. Man, that 3 minutes went by quick. Thank you, Paul and Kyle, for being some mic passers. Tammy's going to join me up here on the stage to join me with our online community and their celebrations. Tammy, good to have you up here.
Hi, guys. It feels like a bit of a family reunion. We
It
had
does?
an old friend
yes.
at the last service that came that we used to do work in Africa with, so that
Yeah.
was really cool.
Yeah.
And I just had another friend, like, I don't know, 15-year friend that I haven't seen for a long time that just popped in. So it's like all these
right.
people
So it is
showing
like
up
a
tonight.
family reunion.
Yeah, really special. So
All right. Well,
glad you're here,
welcome to
Lori.
y'all.
Yeah.
All right, we'll celebrate that. And join our online
my
people.
little side celebration.
Yeah.
Michelle says, celebrating 18 months of sobriety last Tuesday and celebrating closing on my very own home this coming Tuesday.
Way to go, Michelle. Terry Ann says, I celebrated 16 years sober on Tuesday.
Heck
Grateful
yeah.
for this community. Terry, we're glad you're here.
Way to go, Terry
Congratulations
Ann.
on 16 years.
And Chad says, celebrating just over 8 months sober for myself and celebrating 10 months sober for my girlfriend.
All right.
Some great news. I've started my LLC for my restaurant called Anthology Fine Dining. My first scheduled dinner is December 6th. That's soon. Celebrating being alive.
You have a lot to be grateful
Nice,
for, Chad. Way to go, dude. Christy says, sending thanks for God's continued healing of Jen's mom and brother. God is good. We're celebrating that with you, Christy and Jen.
Hi, Kai. She says, celebrating 8.5 months free of fentanyl.
Yes, Kai. Kai is our guest storyteller next week.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's going to be
I've asked
good.
her to share this story. It's going to be beautiful. Ricky, all the way from Texas, says, celebrating walking away from a vehicle accident last Friday. I sustained a concussion, but am still here with 1,657 days with continuous sobriety from
Who's counting?
alcohol. Love y'all. Love you too, Ricky. Glad you're here, brother.
Glad you're okay, Ricky.
Glad you're okay.
And Chance says, hello from Vegas, celebrating meeting our new niece and our first Thanksgiving with our daughter. Had to jump on and see Liz tell her story.
Yes,
Go,
Liz is great tonight. I can't wait to have it again. Chance, good to have you with us tonight. Glad you're celebrating. We're celebrating with you. Thank you, Tammy Kennedy. All right, y'all. We just wrapped up our series. It was a 4-week series called On Edge. And we have a little one-off this week because it's Thanksgiving week, so I figured we should talk about gratitude. And then next week, all of December, going into Christmas Eve, we're going to do a series called Silent No More. And it's important for you all to know, we'll talk about this more in December, but Christmas Eve it's a Saturday, so that's the day before Christmas Eve. So our Christmas Eve services will be on that Saturday, December 23rd. It's going to be beautiful. We'll get the candles going, sing Silent Night, and talk about being silent no more. So I hope you plan on coming 5 or 7 o'clock to the Christmas Eve services. But tonight, it is on gratitude.
I see the flowers. I see the trees. I see the blue sky and the bees.
So, you know, when I was early in recovery, I would hear people talk about gratitude, being grateful, and it always baffled me. I could not make sense of it. People would say that I'm a grateful alcoholic. And I remember thinking, why? You're an alcoholic. Why are you grateful? I mean, look at us, dude. We're sitting in this room and our lives have fallen apart and you're trying to tell me you're grateful? It did not make sense to me. I would hear people say with 20 years of sobriety, well, I'm grateful for another day being sober. And you know what I thought? Why? Why are you, 20 years at this thing. Don't you have it nailed by now? Don't you have it figured out? Why are you grateful for another day? Did you expect today to be any different than yesterday? Why are you grateful? It did not make sense to me. I would hear people talk about very difficult things they were going through in their life, and in the same sentence, they would drop the word grateful. And I was like, why are you grateful for going through this? What do you have to be grateful for? It did not make sense to me. And just as much as the question of why, my thinking was, dude, what's this going to do for you? I mean, how is this going to help you get anywhere? Well, I've since learned that perhaps many people in recovery know what psychology already confirms. Because you do know about 2 decades ago, 20 years ago, is really when studies of gratitude started becoming more popular. So it's a fairly new field of research. And about 20 years ago, Landmark did a major study. It was led by the psychologist Robert Emmons, and they were seeking to understand the positive benefits in people's lives about gratitude. And what they found was actually really fascinating. This study told us that there are major positive effects on your emotional health when you practice gratitude. has major positive effects on your interpersonal relationships. They even told us that when you practice gratitude, it can give a significant boost to your romantic relationships. It has a way of bringing lovers closer together. Interesting, right? They told us that gratitude reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety. It increases self-esteem and improves satisfaction with daily life. And they told us the tremendous positive effects on your physical health when you practice gratitude. That expressing gratitude has a way of lowering your blood pressure and improving your sleep patterns. Now, if you're a bit fuzzy on how to define gratitude, we could probably define it in this room 1,000 different ways, but here's a definition I use, and it's very simple. Gratitude is a positive emotion that can arise when you acknowledge that you have goodness in your life and that other people and God have played a significant role in that goodness. So here's what I'll invite you to do for just a moment, if you're comfortable with it. I invite you to close your eyes. Yeah, it's okay. You can do it. And sink into yourself all the way in. And just think of a few things for which you are grateful. Your achievements, your successes, and your stumbling, and your struggles. Because let's just be honest, without those, where would you be? Who were the ones that helped you? Who were the ones who stood with you along the way? When you reflect on your life, where was God doing for you what you could never do for yourself? And keep your eyes closed for just one more moment, because I want to shift the paradigm just a bit. And I invite you to reflect on what is something you're grateful for this year that you didn't think you would be grateful for? Yeah. You can open your eyes. You know, last week we spent the week in Florida, down in Orlando, and we were hanging out with family. We did a lot of pickleball and a lot of pool, hanging out at the pool under palm trees. It was beautiful. And now we knew we weren't going to be with family on Thanksgiving Day, so we decided one evening while we were there that we were going to have a big Thanksgiving meal together. And if y'all don't know my wife, Tammy Canaday, well, she is known for when groups of people get together and gather for a meal, she has us go around the table, and this is not just on holidays, y'all. This is like the Tammy Canaday way. We'll do this on random evenings, often at our own dinner table. We'll go around the table and say what we're grateful for about each person. It's a great centering practice of gratitude. So we have Thanksgiving meal set out, and Tammy does her thing. She invites us to go around and say what we're grateful for each person, but she changed the rules a little bit. She said, you know what, there's 12 of us. It'll take all night to say what we're grateful for each person. So the rule was you take the person on your left and the person on your right, and you say what you're grateful for about those people, and then you pass it to someone else, just kind of popcorn style. My mom was on my right, and it was her turn. So she started to share a few things about what she was grateful for me, and it made me feel all kinds of good inside, all kinds of warm, fuzzy feelings. And then she started talking about how she was grateful for my recovery. My kids are gathered around the table in the living room. We were in the dining room table and the living room table. And they're listening very intently, my nieces, nephew. And she started to talk about the fear that she was in when I was in active addiction, and the fear of losing another baby to addiction. And she talked about how hard it was to lose her firstborn to this brutal disease of addiction, my brother. And she was in fear that she was going to lose me, her youngest son, to addiction. And she talked about how hard that was. And then she ended by saying, I'm so grateful for your sobriety and the life you get to live today. And I can't tell y'all, I've heard my mom talk about my sobriety probably 100 different times, even using the word grateful as she's talking about my sobriety. But this time it hit me differently. You ever have those moments? and she's talking about the fear. And I'm reminded today I do not have to put people I love most into that fear. I do not have to create chaos around me. In recovery, because of my recovery today, I get to live a life that was not possible in active addiction, and it had a way of overwhelming me with gratitude. And here's what I know. Gratitude is so central to the life that God has given us. Until we can center ourselves on what we have, on what God has given us, on the life we do get to live, we'll constantly be looking for another life. So here's what I want to do with you all for the next few minutes. I want to explore just two very simple ideas on gratitude. And the first one is this. Gratitude is that friend who pulls you out of your head and into your heart. Are you with me? Yes, see, there's a reason that the great leader Moses gave very bold instructions to those wandering Israelites. And again, if you're a bit fuzzy on the story, I'll remind you, the Israelites, they were being held in slavery in this foreign land called Egypt under the rule of Pharaoh. And remember the story? They were crying out to God. God, why don't you see us? God, how come you're not doing anything? Why don't you listen to us? God, how come you won't rescue us? And the text tells us that God hears their cries, and God sends Moses to lead them out of Egypt and into the promised land. Now, when we get to the book of Deuteronomy, that's in the Old Testament, Deuteronomy, Moses is leading the people towards the promised land, and he's teaching them about life with God and life of gratitude. But here's what you need to know about Deuteronomy. Because, see, I'm going to read a short passage in just a moment. They didn't take a direct route to the promised land. No, they wandered for 40 years in the wilderness before they made it to the new land. And Moses is speaking to them as they're wandering. And keep in mind, as they're wandering, they had very little. They were always thirsty, and God provided drink, and they were always hungry. And the text says that God provided bread, and bread for that day and that day alone. Then the next day, God would provide more. And they had very little. They didn't own anything. They didn't own any land. And it is in this time that Moses drops these words, and it makes absolutely no sense to the head. Here's what Moses says to them as they're wandering. Whenever you are reaping the harvest of your field that you don't yet have, and you leave some grain in the field, don't go back and get it. Let it go to the immigrants, the orphans, and the widows, so that the Lord your God blesses you in all that you do. Similarly, when you beat the olives off your olive trees, don't go back over them twice. Let the leftovers go to the immigrants, the orphans, and the widows. Again, when you pick the grapes of your vineyard, don't pick them over twice. Let the leftovers go to who? The immigrants, the orphans, and the widows. Now let's just stop there. Because Moses is speaking about things of which they do not yet have. He's giving them instructions about what to do with the grains and the olives and the grapes that they don't have. Now imagine you're one of those Israelites and you're sitting among the crowd. You're going to probably have some questions. You're going to have some beef with Moses. Like, Moses, dude, we don't have these things. What are you even talking about? And Moses, when we do finally make it into the land, the new land, and we start to have fields of our own, well, we're going to have those things because it means we have worked very hard for these things, and we have given our hard-earned time and energy and money to these things. And now you're telling us once we get them, we've got to give some of it back. We got to give some of it away. Moses, that's not fair. Why would Moses command these wandering Israelites to do this? Very next verse. Remember how you were a slave in Egypt? That's why I'm commanding you to do this thing. These people were former slaves. They were rescued. They were liberated. God has heard their cries and brought them out of Egypt. And this is Moses saying to them, remember your story. When you get to the new land, remember where you came from. Remember your rescue and remember who rescued you. And y'all, we could bring this story right here into this context, can't we? Do you remember the slavery of your addiction? And in recovery, do not forget where you came from. Don't forget your own liberation. Don't forget who rescued you. And you want to keep it? Well, you better give it away to keep it. Moses is saying to them, look, y'all, it's not always going to be this way. I know it feels like this wandering is going to last forever, but we're headed somewhere, and someday in the new land, you are going to have some stuff, and when you do get some stuff, don't forget your story. You see, the danger is you're going to forget what Egypt was like. The danger is you're going to forget your own liberation. You see, it's the danger that comes along with success. Because, well, when you know rock bottom, how many of y'all know rock bottom? Yeah. And then you actually get some things in your life. You actually get some successes under your belt. Some good things happen. Well, I would remind you to be very careful. Because, see, this thing, your mind, your head can start to play tricks on you. Your mind can start to tell you, well, look at this. I mean, I built this thing. I built it. I worked hard for this. Your mind can start to tell you to start getting greedy and you need to hoard everything and it's all yours because you worked hard for it and you built it. And y'all don't lose sight of gratitude along the way, even when you get some stuff. You see, my brothers and sisters, become friends. Befriend gratitude because she will be the one who helps lead you the 18 inches from your head to your heart. And listen, if you don't make friends with gratitude when you have a little, well, I hate to tell you, you're never going to do it when you have a lot. If you're one of the ones that says, well, I'll be grateful when I get more money. I'll be grateful when I have some things. I'll be grateful when my life looks like their life because they have everything and I have nothing. And I'll be grateful when, well, I'm sorry to tell you, you have completely missed it. Do you know a few weeks ago, it was in October, 3 of our 4 kids went out that afternoon because we had some nice sunny days in October. Do you remember? Unlike today. They went out in the neighborhood. They had the day off school. And they went out in the neighborhood, set up one of those lemonade stands, and they worked that lemonade stand all day selling lemonade. And I couldn't believe it. They made like over $50, which never happened when we were kids. We never made $50 selling lemonade. We made like $2 or $3, and we were happy about it. They came walking through the front door. They were all excited, and they were proud of making their over $50. And me and Tammy, we were excited and proud with them. And then we had the talk with them. And I was explaining to them that, listen, this is really cool, and y'all know you need to set some of that money aside, a portion of it, and you can give it to anyone you want, any charity organization. You can give it to anyone in need that you know of, but it's an important act of gratitude to give some back. And y'all, that conversation did not go well. Man, they sounded just like the Israelites. They said to me, Poppy, we worked hard for that money. We worked all day long in the hot sun selling that lemonade, and now you're telling us we don't even get to keep it, and after we split it 3 ways anyway, we're not going to have much, and you mean we got to give some of it away? Now, they were totally forgetting that there was a bigger source involved, me and Mama over here, who had to take them to the store to buy the cups and get the lemonade. They totally forgot about that. And it did take them some time, like several hours of moving from the head to the heart. And several hours later, they came down the stairs and they had some money in their hands, and they had decided who to give that money to. You see, Tammy and I learned a very valuable lesson early on in our relationship from some of our mentors in our life. And they reminded us to practice gratitude early on, even when you have a little, because if you don't, you won't ever do it, no matter how much you have. You see, don't get stuck in this thing, because this thing up here, it will constantly remind you of all the things you don't have. And you want to start with what you do have. You have been given a tremendous gift, and you get to live fully into that gift. So I would encourage you, give freely and give wisely of your time, your energy, your money, your praise for others. Gratitude is the friend that leads you from your head to your heart. And the second thing about gratitude, you see, gratitude is the thing that allows you to hold life loosely and with an openness, because gratitude realizes the whole thing could fall apart at any moment. Is it true? And listen, y'all, I don't say this in the negative. This is not like when good things come your way and you start to get into that thinking of, oh, I don't deserve this. I'm just going to wait for the next shoe to drop. I'm a victim and bad things happen in my life, and you get into that victim mentality. We don't do that here. No. Gratitude isn't rooted in fear. It is not rooted in victim mentality. Gratitude is rooted in the gift, and you've been given a tremendous gift. And see, we have to remember two important things to note. Gratitude does not create guarantees. Just because you practice gratitude doesn't mean everything's going to go up and to the right all the time. And gratitude, the other thing it doesn't do, gratitude does not remove sadness and loss. It is not an escape route. It is not avoidance. And some of you were well aware of this on Thanksgiving. Because maybe you had a Thanksgiving this year, and it was the first one without a particular person at the table. And no matter how much gratitude you could muster, it didn't fill the hole. It didn't fix the loss. It didn't fix the heartache. See, gratitude isn't rooted in denial. It's rooted in reality and acceptance. And listen, I do know gratitude can be so hard to practice. And so if you struggle with gratitude, please know you are not alone. That's why we're talking about it. Gratitude can be a very difficult thing to practice. But you do need to know it has everything to do with your spiritual health. And see, here's what I know about gratitude. Your joy is directly proportional to your gratitude. And see, I used to think that happy things, when life would go my way and good things would happen, well, that would produce gratitude. No. I had to shift my thinking in that. What I now know is gratitude equals joy. You know, there's a letter in the New Testament written by the Apostle Paul. It's called Philippians. He was writing this short 4-chapter letter to this first century church in Philippi, his people. He started this church. And you can read this letter later tonight, or you can read it in just a few minutes. It's found in the New Testament. And he's talking about in this letter, he's talking about the peace of God that comes over you, and it transcends all understanding. And what always stands out to me about this letter is Paul is writing this letter from behind the bars of a prison cell. He was unjustly accused, and he's writing to his people while he's in prison. And here's how he starts the letter. His opening words are, Philippians chapter 1, I thank my God every time I remember you, and all my prayers for all of you, I always pray with joy. I mean, do you see just in his opening how he starts with what he has? He starts with gratitude for them. He could have made it all about himself, and he could have talked all about his own woes, but he knows the way out of his head is to get into the hearts of others. Gratitude is the thing that leads him there. He mentions joy 16 times in this short letter. In fact, he closes the letter this way. He says this, rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. And here's what's so fascinating about this. Keep in mind, the New Testament is written in Greek. In the Greek, joy is the word kairo, stemming from the Greek word charis, which actually means grace or gift, which means joy has its roots in a word that means gift. That's fascinating, isn't it? Because think about it. I mean, how easy is it? How much do we tend to thank God for all those big moments in our life? The ones that take our breath away, the ones that leave us amazed. But isn't it interesting? Did you know each person takes approximately 23,000 breaths each day? And the process of inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide, it's like a complicated respiratory process. It requires like precision at every moment. So I mention that to say when those hard moments come up, when grief, loss, heartache, when those things are near, take a few deep breaths. You're not ignoring the sadness. You're not denying the pain, but you're starting with what you have. Yeah, and for many of you in this room, what do you start with? You have your sobriety. You have your recovery. You have those moments that come along and catch you by surprise. You have people who have walked with you, people who are still walking with you, and you need to know you're here. That means you've been given the gift of breath. So the very first thing that could be said about you before anything else is you've been given a tremendous gift, 23,000 of them just today. Start there. Why do you start there? Because you know at any moment the whole thing could fall apart. You know that life is not filled with guarantees. You might set out to do that thing or start that project or start that organization, or you're in a relationship and you know the whole thing can fall apart. And so you hold it with an openness, and you hold life, you hold the gift loosely. Do you know when we started free? We were well aware, because there was people around us that made us well aware that this may never work, that there is no guarantee it's going to work. There's no guarantee people are going to show up. There's no guarantee funding would come in. And I'll be honest with you, all I had moments in that journey where I was filled with all kinds of fear. And what do I do when I get in fear? I hold on tighter. I say, well, man, we don't have this, and we don't have that, and how's this going to work? And we created this thing, so we got to hold on really tight and ensure that it works out. And thank God I also had people in my life who could bring me back to the center. They could ask me questions like, Ryan, do you believe that God has called you to this? Do you believe that God is leading along the way? And see, when I could answer an authentic yes to those questions, well, then I had to get really uncomfortable. And I had to get really comfortable admitting and saying, yeah, the whole thing could fall apart. There are no guarantees, but guess what? Today, I get to do this. And do you see how that's not rooted in fear? That's rooted in the gift. So you're not holding on tightly. You're not trying to control things. It's rooted in, man, I get to do this. It's all just a gift. You see, my brothers and sisters, are there things in your life that you are holding on to too tightly? Have you somewhere along the way lost sight that it's all just a gift? Have you somewhere along the way traded in gratitude for fear and greed and hoarding? And I get it, for many of us here, this is a new way of life. Gratitude is a new way of life. It requires a shift in perspective. And I'll close with this. There's a story found in the back of the big book, the AA big book. And it's a story called Keys to the Kingdom, one of my favorite stories. And in it, they give us this very simple reminder. It says, a complete change takes place in our approach to life. Where we used to run from responsibility, we find ourselves accepting it with gratitude that we can successfully shoulder it. My brothers and sisters, allow gratitude to be your friend, the one who pulls you from your head to your heart. Now, gratitude does not create the perfect life. It does not remove all the hard, but it might give you new perspective, and it might just make the hard things easier to bear. So I ask you, what are you grateful for today? And here's what we'll do for the next few minutes. I invite you to reflect on the things you're grateful for. Reflect on your own story. And we're going to hear this song. It's a beautiful song, originally written by the great Leonard Cohen. It's a song called Hallelujah. We're going to hear the Pentatonics version because, well, I like that version. But man, he wrote a beautiful line that life is not a victory march. Love is not a victory march. Sometimes it's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah, because sometimes your gratitude is filled with a bit of brokenness. It's all you have is that brokenness. And even too, that's an act of gratitude to offer up. And so take a moment, and as we hear this song, reflect on where are you? What are you grateful for? Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? If you've been hanging around free for a while, you know that I play this song once a year, usually in December. And I won't play it again this December. I played it a little early this year to get on top of things as we're going into the holiday season. But it's a good one. And I was in the back, and I was just looking at some of the during the song. I was looking at some of the Facebook comments and YouTube comments. And one of the really cool things about this community is, so I'll speak to you online people for a minute. I watch you all encourage each other. So someone will say, I'm such and such days sober, and then the online community jumps on them like a pack of dogs and just encourages them and loves on them. And that's such a cool thing that can happen in this community. So online people, keep doing that. I promise you it makes a huge difference to the people you are lifting up and encouraging. And if you're in the house here, well, you all, I hope you do it. I know you do it because I watch you do it. You do it live and you do it in person, and it's so important. Okay, enough on that. If you're new with us, you should know that every single Saturday night we have a guest storyteller in the house to join us in the living room and share some of their experience, strength, and hope around the topic at hand. And I can't wait for you all to meet my friends. It's only one. It's singular, I promise. Friend, Liz Margolis. She is, when I was talking to Liz about this, she said gratitude has been so important in her recovery journey. And she remembers, she'll talk about this because I asked her to share this story. She remembers lying in the hospital bed, praying to God, please don't let me die. Please don't let me die. This week, Liz will be 2 years sober. Help me welcome my friend Liz into the living room. Liz, welcome back. All right, this is yours. Liz, can you see the picture on the screen? Look at that. Look at that.
I had someone take that after the meeting on like Thursday.
You did?
Yeah, because I was like,
When I texted you and said I needed the
I
photo.
don't think I have a good one. So.
Well, you got a good one with
Yeah.
that. So, Liz, November 30th, 2021, you decided to get sober.
Yes, sir.
A big deal.
Big deal.
So here's what I want to do. I want to give them some of the backstory so we can then get into the good stuff. Because, my sponsor, he tells me, Sergeant Major, when I'm sharing my story, he always says to me, Preacher, get to the solution early. I'm like, all right, Tom, I'm going to do that. So I'm reminded to get to the solution early. But we got to know some of the backstory. So I'm just going to give some of the high-level facts so y'all hear about what's going on here. Liz didn't really start drinking till college. But once you got to college, you became known as the partier. You started experiencing what many of us experienced, a blackout drunkenness. But you told yourself, I'm fine, everyone's doing it. Yeah, that's what we all tell ourselves. After college, you moved to D.C. to work with politicians. And so as you do, working with politicians, you started to drink more heavily. And in 2016, you took a job in a political campaign in Ohio. And that was when drinking switched for you into the daily drinking on the lunch breaks. And 1 month before you were done with that, well, you got fired for your drinking. Wasn't the first time she was fired for her drinking. Sorry, Liz, I'm making you look really bad here, but that's to show the beauty that's happening. Right. You moved back in with your parents, and you got a job, got your own apartment, but it happened to be 300 feet away from a liquor store, and you just kept drinking, fired from another job, moved back in with the parents, and you were kind of stuck in a cycle. So the question I want to begin with you, Liz, is, and I know your parents, you speak very highly of them. Are they online tonight?
They are.
They're online. Hi, Mom and Dad. She speaks very highly of you. They've been a major support system in your life.
Absolutely.
When did they realize that, man, our daughter Liz, she's got a problem?
I think, I don't want to speak for them, but it became clear to me that they knew what was up. When I had pancreatitis, I was in the hospital. If anyone's had it, it's pretty horrible. It just feels like someone's stabbing in the back. And I called them and I was like, I don't know what's happening to me. I'm going to the hospital. And the doctor was like, well, how much are you drinking? And I was like,
Don't you hate that question?
I was like, I guess too much. And he was like, yeah. He's like, you're going to need to stop. And I was like, what? And I literally said this to a doctor. I was like, well, I'm not going to stop drinking. In front of my parents. Like, who says that? And
Alcoholics.
Alcoholics, it's true. And I was not ready to admit that I was one. But I was like, all right, I'll try to slow it down, right? I don't want to come back here. And but that was sort of the first recognition that my family had of how much I was drinking, because I was living by myself and my friends and stuff. And it sort of took my drinking. I could no longer drink in front of people because they knew like I had health problems from it. So that really switched my drinking to all secret, isolated, problematic. Not that it wasn't problematic already, but isolation doesn't make anything better.
Yeah. And so after you started drinking in secret from that moment on, right? So doctors know it, the family knows it now. So you just started drinking in secret, and you found yourself back in the hospital in 2020.
Yeah, back in the hospital twice in 2020. Once in the summer for acute liver failure, and again in November for the same thing. So clearly I don't learn my lesson. My skin was yellow. I keep a picture on my phone of myself in the hospital in 2020 just as a continual reminder that that's not what I want to go back to. And while in the summer while I was there, I just felt, I was thankfully in the ER, but I had a seizure right in front of my mother. And when I came to, foaming at the mouth, everything, she was just crying her eyes out right next to me. And that was like the worst, that's seared in my brain. That was one of the worst feelings you can have as a daughter. Like, I was like, I am just the worst for putting my family through this. Like, what? And I'm doing it to myself, and I'm doing it to all these people. So that was just really hard. But unfortunately, it was like not the end for me in my drinking.
What did the doctor tell you while you were there?
So that was the same visit. A liver specialist came in, and he said, if you keep drinking like this, you're going to be dead before 35, or you're going to be he's like, in another year, you'll be looking at a transplant list. And we can't give you a liver unless you're sober for 6 months. And being sober for 6 months seemed like...
That's an eternity.
Yeah, for an alcoholic. I was like, what? I was like, all right, well, I don't want to have to get a new liver. So, let me try this sobriety thing. So after I got out of the hospital in November of that year, I made a commitment to myself, to the people around me, my family. I said, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. I do not want to die. So I did for 11 months. I just put alcohol down, and I didn't do anything else. I didn't go to meetings. I didn't build a community. I just kept pushing forward, and after about 11 months, I completely planned my relapse and had a pretty hardcore relapse for a few weeks there in November of 2021.
So Liz, will you talk about that a little bit? Because I think it's such an important thing to talk about. And so many of us here, maybe some of you watching online tonight, you try. I certainly tried. I tried to do it on my own so many times, and I never got 11 months, but I had some days under my belt doing it on my own. Describe to people what that feels like and what's going on in the mind and heart.
So it feels like your mind is going crazy every single day. And for me, I was trying so hard to put on a brave face, like I am so happy, this is so great to everyone else. But internally, that's not how I felt. I felt like I want to drink. And I felt like that every single day. And I was like, how am I going to do this for the rest of my life? Like, this is so hard, so much harder than I thought. And doing it alone, I didn't have anybody to share those feelings with. I just didn't want anyone to think that I was thinking about drinking again, so I just kept it all to myself. And that gets really heavy to carry on your own.
And so when you hear alcoholics and addicts talk about the relieving of the obsession of the mind, that's what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
You talk about the crazy mind. That obsession can be lifted, but in my experience, it's got to be a power greater than yourself to do it. Okay, so you went through all that. Still not totally done drinking, but tell us the moment maybe where you decided, you realized you had a problem and my life hasn't changed.
I mean, I think I knew I had a problem. It was just kind of getting the will to do something about it permanently. And so in that relapse, I remember I was talking to my dad and I was just like, Dad, something is wrong with my mind. This is why this keeps happening. Something is very wrong with my mind that I think I can keep doing this and that something good is going to happen. And so I decided to change my entire environment, everything in my life pretty much, because what I was feeling was that I was stuck and nothing was progressing. And if I just stayed in that place, I was going to drink again because I wasn't happy. I was very, very depressed. So I looked up, I found a rehab out here in Monument, and talked to them, did intake, and was in the airport about to go there the next day.
So hold on, you just picked up everything to come to a place you had never lived.
Yeah, that's my style.
That's my style. Someone tweet that out.
Yeah, I used to work in politics, so I was used to like picking up and going random places for short periods of time.
So
to
what happened
work.
in the airport?
So I was in the airport, and Philly International, and there's a bar there, Chicken and Pete's, which is for my Philly people, they'll know. And so I was like 8 a.m. and the airport is the only socially acceptable place to just drink at whatever hour. So I'm itching. I'm really going into withdrawal, and I was like, let me just have one last drink for the road, just goodbye alcohol. So I went in there and I sat at the end of the bar, and there were like 5 people in there at the bar. You could clearly see me. And the bartender just didn't acknowledge me, did not come over for like 8 minutes, which is an eternity when you're waiting for a drink. And I was like, all right, this is my signal from God that I am done. This is it, I'm done. My last drink was my last drink, and I'm not drinking now, and this is it. I'm gonna show up to rehab, and I'm gonna be sober. And that's what I did. And that plane ride sucked, but I made it, and I blew a 0 on my intake, and I was like, great, I gotta go to bed now because I feel like trash, but made it here sober.
You couldn't even get the bartender to serve you. That's a great
Maybe
story,
he was
by
an
the way.
angel, like in disguise.
Yeah.
He was like not real, but he was real to me. I don't know.
So you went to rehab for 30 days, then sober living for 7 months, right?
7 months, yeah. Went to Zen Mountain sober living, and that was what I needed. I needed consequences. I needed, like, if you drink, you'll get kicked out. Good. I'm in a new city. I don't want that to happen. That was enough to like keep me on this. And you have to go to meetings. You have to go to 6 meetings a week, which is a lot. But I was happy to be there. I was happy for the opportunity. So I got my butt to meetings, and I did my chores, and I was a good little sober living kid. And I was only planning on staying there for 90 days, but I ended up staying for 7 months because I just got real comfortable. The lady who owns the sober living finally called me, and she was like, "So you think you're ready to move out?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." I guess I'll look into it.
So Liz, tell us some about the role of gratitude that it's played in your recovery over these past 2 years.
Absolutely. Like, gratitude is the rock on which I stand, because I'm grateful to just be sitting here alive today, because like that was a very scary possibility that I could die from this disease. A lot of young women are dying from this disease, a lot of young people in general. Yeah. I thought alcoholics were all like just old and had been drinking for like 55 years, and I didn't think at a young age I could be susceptible to the scary health consequences. So I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for clean blood tests. I'm so grateful for my family, and my friends, from childhood and from college, and the dear friends I picked up on the way who were just rooting for me the whole time. They would not give up on me, even though I was like, get away from me. This is my life. I want to do what I want to do. They would not give up on me, and they would not let me destroy my life completely. And I'm so grateful for them, and I hope they're watching now. I love you guys. I'm grateful for this freaking community, Ryan. Like, you started a good thing. You did a good thing, bro. Like, finding this place was just so great, and it's been so instrumental in my recovery. Like, my home group is here. I've met just so many wonderful people here who are doing recovery well and are happy. They're not like, dry drunks, angry. Like, they're really authentic, happy people. And so I'm grateful that I can sit here and like authentically be myself and be sober and be happy and just be embraced by cool people that are doing the same journey. So it's great.
Liz was baptized here not too long
Yes.
ago in the wagon.
In the wagon.
Because we just dunk people in the wagon and call it new life.
Yeah, and that was cool. Like, if you had asked me like 3 years ago, like, will you be baptized at like a spiritual conference? I'm like, no. Like, what are you talking about? I was baptized when I was a baby, but like that was really cool, and it really brought me. I felt like made me made me feel closer to the community. Yeah. And to God, which is great.
Yeah. So Liz, I'm going to throw you a curveball question. I didn't ask you this last service, but I want to ask you this time. As you look back over the journey, what's the thing you're most grateful for? Or do you have a moment that stands out where you realize just kind of that flooding emotion of gratitude came over?
I think like this last year has been a roller coaster. I got laid off from my job. I just recently got offered another one. So like that whole journey, being able to ride it sober like I was really grateful for it because like I've gone to my sponsor's house a million times with my hair on fire, like, yeah, all this stuff is happening. And she goes, well, did you drink? And I'm like, no. And then she goes, well, it's still a good day. So every day that I don't drink, it's still a good day.
Yeah. And it's that simple. It is that simple sometimes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Liz. One more question for you, though, before we depart. To those who might be here or again, joining us online, struggling to find gratitude. Because let's be honest, it can be hard. It can be hard to have a practice of gratitude when it feels like things are falling apart. What hope do you give?
Find your community, find your people. Just get out of your shell and talk to people and make friends and share with them because they will remind you in the hard times what you should be grateful for. And community is what pulls people out of addiction and dark places. And I know that from firsthand experience.
100%. Liz Margolis, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us tonight, Liz. Thank you. So good, so good. Yes, we do recovery. Thank you. We do recovery, but we do recover. And thank you, Liz, for being living proof of that. All right, y'all, the way we close things down here on a Saturday night is with very similar to the way we begin. We begin with celebrations, but we close things with heartaches, burdens that you're carrying, because what we know is we can try to do a good job at carrying burdens by ourselves, and, well, it turns out we really suck at it. That's why we have community. It's why we do this thing together. So if you need prayer or encouragement or some lifting up, there's something really powerful happens when you put words to the heartache you're carrying. So we take 3 minutes for this. If you're online, you can drop those heartaches into YouTube comments or Facebook comments. We'll heartache with you there. If you're in person, Paul has a mic and Kyle has a mic. And thank you, gentlemen, for being mic passers. Just raise up your hand and you can put words to the burden. We'll take 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Carrie, and I'd like to lift up Shay. She lost her son, Logan, in July to fentanyl, and so she's struggling.
Prayers for her and the family and the friends.
Hello, my name is Rachel, and my brother just found out that he has cancer, so he goes in for surgery on the 1st. And please just pray that our relationship is not as strained as it has been.
All right. Prayers for your family, your brother. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Hello, my name is Adam, and I'd just like to lift up those who don't know God and who are on the street struggling.
Yeah. Prayers for them, brother. Thanks for lifting them up.
This is Paul. I have a friend, Doug, that's struggling this weekend.
All right. Prayers for Doug. Anyone else? All the way in the back.
Hi, my name is Kelsey. I don't know how to explain this. I don't really have anybody that's struggling, but I'm struggling a lot right now with a lot of suicidal thoughts. And I'm just grateful to have you guys and to be here right now.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. The cafe is open till 9 o'clock, so stick around and connect with others, because I promise you, you're not alone. Glad you're here. Thank you for saying that. Anyone else?
Thank you. My name is Lisa, and my heartache is for Jesus and the price he paid for me. And it would be an honor to die for him. So thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Front row.
Yeah, I just want to get a prayer for everybody out there that's homeless and struggling, especially out there in 9 Mile. Got a lot of people out there that are struggling so bad right now, man. And it's a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
But I just want to keep them in prayer, so hopefully God can go out there and clean that place up, man. Get them, save them just like they saved us.
Yeah. I know you know what it's like, and it's a cold night out there tonight. So prayers for them, lifting them up.
Hi, I'm Abby, and I just wanted to quickly pray for Carmen, the woman who was sitting next to me. She left, but she was meant to come here.
Yeah.
And, I just pray that she can find her way back here.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for that, Abby. And if anyone's wondering, oh, was she a disruption? Did she disrupt the message? No. We don't do that here. We don't do shame here. She's always welcome here. Anyone who's struggling is welcome here. It's why this community exists. Yeah. Thank you, Abby. Prayers for Carmen tonight. We're going to show her some love when she comes back. Paul, you want to join me up here, dude?
I'll try.
For some online heartaches? You're going to try. What's that mean, dude? Look at you. You're all dressed up tonight.
Like a Presbyterian.
Look at those kicks. A Presbyterian. I like it. All right, buddy. You're going to take the first one, then we'll go back and forth. How does that work out for you?
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Pam, prayers for my son, 2+ months sober, but ill with a type of flu right now. Yeah.
All right. Pam, prayers for him. Kristen says, please hold my sister and her family in your prayers. Kristen, holding them in our prayers, our thoughts, our vibes, we're holding them. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Christy, prayers for my friend Linda, who lost her brother unexpectedly today.
Oh, bummer. Prayers for you, Christy. Prayers for Linda. Jonathan says, please pray for our friend John Michael and his family. His little brother was shot a little while ago, and he feels like he has to be there for his brother. Dang, Jonathan. Yeah, prayers for John Michael and his family, and holding that heartache close.
Jen Deckard, prayers, please, for Joyce. She lost her husband of 55 years. I met them while delivering to them on my FedEx route. I would stop and visit with them and their dog Toby when I had time. Rest in peace, Larry.
Yeah. What a heartache, Jen. Thanks for sharing that with us. Paul, I'm glad you're part of this community, man. Thanks for being here tonight. Yeah. All right, y'all. Hey, one of the ways we remain community together, one of the ways we keep the mission of breaking the silence of addiction thriving in the community, how we exist, we rely on your generous giving, especially if you call this place home. If this is your tribe, your people, we encourage generous giving. And let me say this. I said this last week, and I mean it when I say it. Even if you don't give anything here, it's the holiday season, all right? Please give somewhere. Give to people who need it. Give to organizations who need it. I promise you, gratitude does transform you. So please give somewhere. And we are really grateful for your generosity here. There's a couple of ways to give. There's a giving box by Bobby. Bobby, wave your hands in the air like you just don't care. There's a giving box there. There's a giving box just outside these doors. And there's 3 ways to give digitally, if you're not the cash type carrying people like me. You can download the app. It's free to download. Free Spiritual Community. All our content's on there. Guest Storytellers, messages, and there's a giving button there. You can give one time, weekly, monthly, however you want to do it. Exact same thing on the website, freespiritualcommunity.com. Just click on the giving button. Or you could text the number on your screen. It walks you through a very simple set of instructions. And truly, I hope y'all know this, your generosity helps spread the mission here of Free, and I hope you see how important it is of breaking the silence of addiction and creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. So thank you all for being a part of that. I know many of you have made that a spiritual practice in your life, a practice of gratitude, a sacrificial practice, and it truly makes a difference here, so thank you. Shall we go out with a prayer? We're going to do a very simple prayer tonight, but before we get to it, just I invite you to open your hands. Take a few big, deep breaths. Yeah, you know the thing that you got 23,000 of those today? Yeah, the gift. Be reminded of the gift you're breathing in. As you inhale the oxygen and exhale the carbon dioxide. What a gift. This prayer is prayed in the rooms of Cocaine Anonymous. And it's called the Thank You Prayer. It's very simple and short. If you don't know it, it's on your screen. And it goes like this. God, we thank you for everything. Amen. So much grace and peace and gratitude to you, my brothers and sisters.